The problem on a lot of waters you fish today are the fact that there's a lot of anglers, there's a lot of pressure, and everybody has figured out how to hit the same spots. So what's going to separate you from the first 6 anglers that went to that dock, or that overhanging tree, or that piece of cover? It's the ability of you to get your bait where they haven't, and that comes from skipping. If you're starting out skipping, braid is going to be so much easier for you to skip with because it's easier to pick out the backlashes. 50 or 65 pound braid is a great place to start. If you're fishing lakes that fluorocarbon is a must, make sure you get one that actually is soft enough so that you're not getting a stiff fluorocarbon that's going to cause a lot of loose line when you're attempting to skip your baits. For rods, I like to use rods that are anywhere from 7 foot to 7 foot 5 inches in length. It's all about the motion and the pendulum action that you're going to use in that rod. Having too long of a rod is going to impede your ability to get that rod tip down and low swing your bait through the cover that you need when you're skipping baits. For reels, there's a couple of reels on the market, styles anyways, that are going to help you out. And reels today really are great for the most part. They're built well, they got good bearings in them, smooth braking systems, but the braking system is what does all the work. On some reels, like any of the Shimano style reels, you might have variable braking system which have pins, or you have the newer SVS Infinity braking. What I like to do is set up with a lot of pins out when I first started practicing skipping, set a lot of brakes out so you have a lot of control. Your spool tension on the opposite side of your bait caster should be set so that as your bait falls, it just comes out nice and slow instead of rapidly falling off when you click the bail on a bait caster. Your thumb is the final thing you're going to use when it comes to skipping, and you have to learn about following through with your bait and gently, and I mean very gently, using your thumb to control the extra overrun that will naturally happen. If you've got the right setup, whether it's the rod, reel, and line, the other thing that really becomes critical in skipping is the bait selection. If you're a jig guy and you like to skip jigs, you don't want to be skipping jigs that have pointed heads. You want those flat, wide, archy style heads. That wider head is going to allow that bait to skip, much like skipping a stone. Some plastics are great to skip. Senko style baits are amazing to skip. Anything that has a lot of central weight and is smooth, doesn't have hard edges or not a lot of arms or appendages, are baits that you can easily skip when you're starting out. The more confidence you get in skipping, the better you're going to get at it, the more baits you're going to be able to do it. So it's a repetitive motion that you have to practice. A great tip if you're going to start out skipping is to take out 25 or 30 feet of line or 50 feet, however you feel you want to learn to skip. Take out that much line off your bait caster, put a piece of tape over your line, and then reel the rest of that line over that tape. And what that's going to do is it's going to stop the overrun from happening beyond that tape, so you can practice with confidence practicing your skipping and not for a fear of ruining an entire spool of line. Practice, practice, practice. It's the best way I can explain getting better at skipping, and if you take the time and get better, I promise you, you're going to pick off fish that everybody is leaving behind.